What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Listen, Donald Trump is the worst kind of human being on the planet. And if you are attracted to him, you are attracted to the worst elements of humanity. Straight up. Listen, the 20-year-old Christian, Republican, conservative, Second Amendment, MAGA gun nut who decided to take a shot at Donald Trump, right? He killed another person during his failed attempt, right? The other person. Now, I don't hear any of the Republicans talking about this guy, right? The guy who protected his family when he was at a rally, for Donald Trump. Everybody's trying to, all the Coonarians and all the MAGA is trying to make Trump some kind of hero, and I can see why I'm not really with the conspiracy theories about it being an inside job or the left liberal conspiracy. I believe until further evidence says otherwise that it was a lone wolf dude, crazy fan. There's always somebody close to you within your network to do something to you, right? I.e. Nipsey Hussle, right? I.e. the what was it, the rapper group, the black rapper group with the Mexican name or whatever. I forgot. Migos, right? There's always somebody within the group, right? It doesn't matter if it's rich, well-to-do white people, poor black people, middle-class Latino. It don't matter. It don't matter what facet of society you in. When you're producing a certain amount of energy around you, right, usually, is somebody around you who's either jealous that you done came up or they have a unhealthy relationship with you and they just do weird shit. I think black people should understand that, seeing how we have white people who seem to worship us in the weirdest ways. They eat us, they hate us, they love us, they want us to go, but they need us to stay. And if we tried to go, they'll stop us. If we tried to mind our business, they'll stop us. Anything we try to do, they'll stop us if they can't benefit it or if they can't see it for themselves or enjoy it or be entertained by it. It's weird, right? Same thing with individuals. With Donald, this guy was clearly a Trumper. But it was something about Trump in his head that made him want to go do whatever he did, right? But besides the point, there was an innocent person that got killed. Now, how many days has it been since this assassination? Has Donald Trump called the family? No. Donald Trump hasn't even called. He doesn't even care about the person that was killed. And there's other people in the hospital at his rally because somebody tried to take him out because of the things that he come out of his mouth. You see, the Republicans are the ones always talking about Second Amendment right solutions. Y'all wasn't talking all this stuff when every Republican was out here putting targets on politicians' backs. Remember that? Putting targets. Drawing targets, making posters and saying little red meat to their little Republican conservative constituents about Second Amendment, war, Civil War, kill, shoot, gun. They always putting that image out there in order to defeat your political opponent, you need to kill and harm them. Always suggesting the Second Amendment right. So, that energy was created and was turned around onto them, right? I don't hear none of them trying to. I don't hear any of them. None of them went there because usually when there's like a mass, this was a mass shooting. More than 4 people got shot. That means the Trump rally was a mass shooting, and it was done by probably the profile of people who typically do mass shootings, right? And not one person from the Trump campaign called the person that died. Just no condolences. And the wife, who said she was just going to look, the wife, who seems to be nice as pie, maybe, but she said, but the actual president called her because that's what you supposed, even if you don't care, you do it for political theory at least, right? So Joe Biden calls. She said she didn't want to take his call because she's so loyal to her husband, who's loyal to Donald Trump, that she's voting for Donald Trump, not because she believes in Donald Trump, only because her husband is voting for Donald Trump. That's why. So she didn't want to accept a call from the president of the United States because, of the principle of Donald Trump. That's how deep even the victims are in the psychosis of the Trump movement. That even the wife who got her life saved, her family was saved by the husband who died, they're all Trump MAGA sycophants. But still, throughout with the loyalty that the wife is showing with her dead husband, who is the actual hero of the situation, still their God, their Lord and Savior, can't take 5 fucking minutes to call them to see if they're okay, to give them to pander to them in their loss. It would have made for great TV. It would have been great for his numbers. He's always talking about his numbers. He didn't even, neither him or his campaign has the consideration to even call the people that died at his rally, to call and talk to the wife, make a little video of him, show that you care, show that they don't even care to show the people that they care. Yet you got all these dudes, the Canary, they sucking. What does it? I mean, I don't even want to know what it tastes like. That Kool-Aid must be good, yo. I don't know how this disgusting fat, Trump is like a pus. He's like the pus in a side of a pimple that has blood in it. That's how disgusting he is. You can see it, but people love him. I'm telling you, this is really showing us the separation between the strong minds and the weak minds. This is definitely showing us the difference between people who need someone to follow and people who can think for themselves. Because, I mean, you're talking about separating oil and water, man. This is really showing the separation between the minds in this country. Because it's unfathomable that anybody with any common sense will support somebody who clearly shows and displays his not giving a fuck towards anybody. Not at all. Not one bit. Don't give 2 shits at all. It's all about Trump, Trump, Trump. And look at all the Coonarians that bent over backwards to burn all of their bridges in order to pander to whiteness, to conservativeness, to pander to white fragility. And what did they get at that convention? They didn't get shit. Not one of them Coonarians got the pick for the VP. Donald Trump actually doubled down and picked another white male looking. He picked another. You're not supposed. Usually, when you run for the presidency, you pick a vice president. You pick a vice president that will help you with your weaknesses, right? So Donald Trump, if he was smart, he would have picked a woman, somebody of color. He would have picked a pet Coonarian. That was the smart move. No. Not only did he not pick a pet Coonarian, who they was out here chucking and jiving and dancing and skipping and hopping and literally burning the bridges towards their own communities in order to get that golden butter biscuit from Donald Trump. And he said, fuck y'all. Not only did the minority, the good citizen didn't get it, he didn't even pick a woman, because guess what? He hates women. Because he's a rapist. Y'all know Donald Trump. He's an actual rapist. Yeah. Actual, and a felon. He's a criminal. Donald Trump, if he wasn't running for the president, he couldn't get a job at Walmart. They would not hire him. He couldn't get a job anyway because he's a felon. They would never trust him around money. He could never get a job manipulating, touching, or looking at money. He could never get a job telling anybody or managing anybody with the charges he got. But you guys want him to be the president of the United States. Whew, you guys are lost. But yeah, Donald Trump, he don't give a shit. And I think that's what some misguided black people, they like. There's different types of people that like Trump. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a clip up of a pundit explaining the different types of Trump supporters, because these people, it's fascinating, man. When I look in the eyes of a black Trump supporter, I don't see nothing. I feel sorry for him. I feel bad for him, even though I got to go on them sometimes because they got all this rah-rah. I truly feel bad for them because they are victims of mental slavery. They're victims of mental illness. They are sick. They are mentally sick. And a lot of them, and just along with their white counterparts, they are mentally sick, and it's destroying them. And it's destroying their society. We're watching Rome fall because Rome has chose to pick incompetent, treacherous leader who has no empathy for anybody else other than himself. It's wild. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. This is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach them. I'm out.
Jesus syndrome. We don't care if the white Jesus wears red or blue. We don't care what side of the aisle that they're on. You know, Black America suffers from battered spouse syndrome envy. And what battered spouse syndrome speaks to is the fact that no matter how bad you beat me up, if I believe I need you in order to survive, I'm never going anywhere. And part of our problem, part of the equation to our problem as American Africans, why we don't do anything on our own, is we are often waiting for the great white savior to come. This is a message that has been rehearsed for us in church. We get it in the media. We get it in the Black community. So Black people will never, ever abandon their hope of a white savior coming to save them. Donald Trump has no record whatsoever of saving Black folks. When people ask me, who you going to vote for? At this point, neither one of them are going to get my vote. I considered Cornel West because I love Dr. West. Intelligent, strong, good-natured, but he's a bunny hopper, so he can't get my vote. Now, when I come back to Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I look at the fact that Donald Trump signed 13 federal death executions while he was president. More than half of them was signed after Joe Biden won the election. Think about that now. Biden gets elected in November, sworn in January. Between that time, Donald Trump executes half of those 13 people. 5 of them were Black men, and 2 of those Black men were presumed innocent, and their attorneys had introduced a stay of execution to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court turned them down, and Donald Trump executed those brothers. So when I hear Black men say, I'm voting for Donald Trump because he's going to bring more money and economic vitality into the Black community, I say, what about the fact that he's out here killing Black folks, you understand, without no remorse at all? So you got to look at that. You also got to look at the fact that Donald Trump wants to give police 100% immunity. That's right. Wait a minute. Look how they killing us now. Right. So now you're telling me anything the police do in their line of duty, they cannot be held accountable for making bad mistakes and bad decisions, and you want to put that back in office? That's thirsty Black men worry more about money than the lives of their people.
So what do you think about...
I just have to say, if Isaiah Montgomery wanted to know exactly who his descendants would be in 2024, these would be the sons of his loins. If you don't know who Isaiah Montgomery is, I think you should look him up. Just know there have always been those willing to sell out so many people in our culture just to shuck and jive. It's heavily on brand. And they remind me so much of Isaiah Montgomery. The more that they speak.
Oh, what's up? Real quick question for any Black, brown, or Hispanic Trump supporters, especially you Cubans. Now that Trump has given another speech, and on top of calling migrants that come from Black, brown, or Hispanic countries, calling them vermin, saying they're poisoning the blood of the country. On top of that, now he's saying that he doesn't think you can even consider those people that come from those areas that may be Black, brown, or Hispanic, like you. He doesn't even think you can consider them to be people. His exact words was, I don't think you can even consider them to be people. I don't. And he called them animals. So on top of being vermin, poisoning the blood of the country, now he's saying that migrants that come from areas that may be Black, brown, or Hispanic, like you, or your relatives, he says now you shouldn't even be considered people and you're animals. So my question is, as a Black, brown, or Hispanic Trump supporter that may happen to look like some of those migrants that come from those countries that may be Black, brown, or Hispanic, how do you think he or his racist base, because you know he's supported by every single hate group in the country, how do you think they differentiate between those Black, brown, or Hispanic people who just came here for a better life like you did, or you who support them and not liking those people that came here for a better life like you did? Like, do you guys link up? Do you wear like a shirt that says, no, I'm one of the good vermin? Like, how does that work? Like, how do they break it down like that? Because, you know, some of you might be thinking, well, he's talking about crime. He can't. I don't think it's that, because he's never called any white criminals vermin, said they were poisoning the blood of the country. He's never said that they're not people, and he's never ever called them animals. Not even the people that attacked the Capitol. Matter of fact, he calls them hostages and is vowing to pardon those hostages if he gets a chance. So, what do y'all think it is?
One of the most dangerous groups of people in this country are Black conservatives. Conservatives openly embrace racism and or ignores the effects that it has on people that are actually affected by it. Conservatism thrives on the just one rule. We just need one Black person to agree with us, to ignore what all the other Black people are saying. And it goes the same way for violence. We just need one black person to do something violent to blame it on the whole of the black community. And that's all they need. Remember that when you're cheering on your white supremacist friends.
You know what really gets me about these black and Latino Trump supporters is that y'all don't comprehend what he's saying, what Donald Trump's saying. His slogan alone should make you think about what he's saying. Make America great again. Again. Make it great again. What's that telling you? To the black Trump supporters, what is that telling you? Make it great again. When the fuck has America ever been great for Latinos or black people? When have it ever been great? That alone should show you what he's not including you. You giving this man a vote he's not gonna include you in nothing. So I mean, come on, you literally get on TikTok and you do this vote for Donald Trump stuff. You sitting there black as hell with the red cap on talking about make America great again when it was never great for you. You look like a clown when you do this. You look just like a clown, and I don't know if you're doing this for likes, or I saw a couple of them had their cash apps up talking about make America great again. You know, a black guy sitting there talking about Trump. Or and then I saw one with a Latinos for Trump. Talking about make America great again with your cash app up there. So I guess you trying to get these conservative white people to give you some money. Because, you know what I mean, that's my only thing why I think you doing it. Because if you can sit up there and vote for Donald Trump, get on social media, say you blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump, make America great again. You know how goofy you sound. It never been great for your goofy ass. So what is the again shit?
They were a slave. They were given housing, food, clothing, medical care.
From what you said, it sounds like you were born before the Civil Rights Movement.
Oh, yeah.
So black people couldn't buy houses in your lifetime when you were maybe a baby.
I'm well aware of that.
You were 5. So you don't think there's any downstream effect?
I felt depressed at that time.
Yeah.
But that's what Martin was trying to correct. Right now, I see so many people living off the government handout.
I'm pretty sure welfare use per capita is higher in red states than blue states.
Yes, but there's so many people living off of the government handouts. And that is not that much farther away from slavery. They were a slave. They were given housing, food, clothing, medical care. The people asked them to work. Yes, there were landowners that were violent and mean to some of them, but there were others that were humanistic. The Civil War was something that no one could do anything about because the whites, quote unquote, whites from the South are not the only ones that had slaves. Slaves are all over the world. Slaves still exist today.
Do you think there's a direct effect from slavery to how black Americans are able to live today?
No, I don't. They have a chance to learn. They live in the best country in the world. If they open their eyes and listen, instead of just focusing on their little area and people that they hang out with, they would learn a lot.
Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You have heard him call poorer countries shitholes. In private, he is even worse. He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't a shithole. This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid. And yet, I continued to work for him.
Let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need. The first thing they do is start shouting police brutality.
He was born in Kenya and he lived in Indonesia.
The state of Hawaii says this is official. He was born in Hawaii.
A lot of people do not think it was an authentic certificate.
Total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. I will pay for the legal fees, I promise.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke?
I don't know anything about David Duke.
I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know any, honestly, I don't know David Duke.
Look at my African American over here.
We're building a wall. He's a Mexican. He is giving us very unfair rulings.
He's not from Mexico.
In my opinion,
he's from Indiana.
He's Mexican heritage. These thugs being thrown into the back of a paddy wagon. I said, please don't be too nice. Very fine people on both sides.
Why do we want these people from, quote, all these countries here?
These aren't people. These are animals.
He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't a
Female Democrat congresswomen who are foreign born, he suggests, should go back to where they came from.
Have you heard the president use the N-word? Yeah.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
I was on social media last night. Very interesting, as you see black support eroding from Joe Biden. This is connecting with black America because they love sneakers. They're into sneakers. They love this is a big deal, certainly in the inner city. So when you have Trump roll out his sneaker line, they're like, wait a minute, this is cool. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics. And Trump understands culture like no politician I've ever seen.
First off, he must think black people are going to taste, because I would not wear them ugly ass shoes even if you gave them to me for free. Like, I'm really trying to understand this man's thought process of, yes, this makes sense. Let me say this on TV. And me personally, I don't like Trump. I have never liked Trump, and a pair of shoes is not going to change that. And to be honest, I think Trump is only selling these shoes just for attention and to get his money back up after he lost millions in that civil fraud case. And all I gotta say is I don't think that you will see black people buying these shoes, let alone wearing them. I think you're gonna see them in a couple white households in like a box on a display case or something, because I really don't see one of us really wearing one of them ugly ass pairs of shoes.
14,000 apartments in 39 different buildings, all mostly white tenants. That is until the Department of Justice took notice in 1973 and slammed Donald Trump and his father Fred Trump with a lawsuit. Trump management was charged with discriminating against African Americans and breaking federal law. Donald Trump, then just 27, was president of the company. The Department of Justice accused the Trumps of violating the Fair Housing Act, arguing they were turning away renters based on race and color. Who tipped them off? Local activists, so-called testers, posing as potential renters at Trump's buildings, mainly in Brooklyn and Queens. Elise Goldweber was a lawyer for the DOJ's Fair Housing section at the time and was called on to handle the Trump case.
When the black testers came, they were shown, they may have been shown apartments, but were told nothing was available. Whereas when the white testers came, yes, there were things that were available. That would be the norm.
And if the Trumps did rent to a black person, Goldweber recalls, they would do so only at one building in Brooklyn, reserving the other buildings for white tenants.
That the white people would live in Trump Village and the people of color would live in Flatbush.
And according to the Justice Department, they even had a secret coding system to do it, a racial code. Here's how.
Some of the applications were marked with a C, which we learned that it meant colored, so that the prospective tenants who had come in were noted to be colored.
Yes, you heard her right. The Department of Justice alleged applications submitted by prospective African American renters were designated with a secret code, such as C for colored, to indicate a black person was looking to rent. In true Trump fashion, Donald Trump hit back, calling the government's accusations absolutely ridiculous, and telling the court, "I have never, nor has anyone in my organization ever, to the best of my knowledge, discriminated or shown bias in the renting of our apartments." Trump's lawyers said the government's suit failed to give names, addresses, or specific incidences of discrimination. Claiming the lawsuit caused substantial damage to their business and reputation, Trump took the most unusual step of suing the Justice Department for defamation, seeking $100 million in damages. But that countersuit was tossed out by the judge. Even so, the Trump family maintained they never discriminated based on color, but were instead trying to avoid renting to people on welfare. 2 years later, in 1975, Trump and his father settled the case, agreeing not to discriminate against anyone. They also promised to advertise in publications aimed at minorities, familiarize themselves with the details of the Fair Housing Act, and notify civil rights groups of apartment vacancies. The Department of Justice claimed victory, but the Trumps never admitted any wrongdoing, reportedly noting the settlement was in no way an admission of a violation.
Mr. President, will you apologize to Central Park 5? They've been exonerated, there have been videos, movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die, that they should have the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up.
If y'all saw where I was on the ballot, that's right. Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
The math ain't math in here, guys. There is no large enough constituency of black men supporting Donald Trump that could swing this election either way. If we want to talk about people who are supporting Donald Trump, the biggest number is white people. It's conservative white voters. So it baffles me why the media is constantly pushing this storyline as though black men could hand the presidency to Donald Trump. It's just not true.
Man, I don't know what they putting in this new money they giving these black folk, man. But if my money make me act like Stephen A. Smith, I don't want it.
Oh, baby, we love Trump. We need him back in office.
From Sexy Red, Chef G, and Sleepy Hollow to Sada Baby, Icewear, Vezo, and Peasy, rap artists are shaping new sounds within hip-hop and Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
Now, flashy endorsements don't always mean more votes, but the Trump campaign has been using new artists at its events to help court young voters of color.
He might be the first person to make me vote.
Rappers have backed Trump before, but more have joined him in the past few years. When Trump was in the White House, his pardons of Kodak Black and Lil Wayne led both artists to publicly support him. And for some voters, that support's a big deal.
Yo, growing up, right, I listened to 50 Cent. I used to hear Donald Trump on the mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? And to have a president that used to be in the hood clubbing with people that come from where I come from, come on, man.
The Biden campaign says it's more focused on engaging with voters directly than it is on endorsements. But that hasn't stopped the White House from participating in events like this.
Wow, y'all give it up one more time for Quavo and the Vice President of the United States of America.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm starting to see a dangerous increase in black Trump supporters. And I thought these were outliers, but the way every time I turn around and there's another black influenceable black person who is in support of Donald Trump, it's like I'm surrounded. It's like, I'm like, what is going on? Now, I think what happened was that I was into that Fonnie Willis stuff. That's Fonnie Willis stuff that was going on. And I wanted to see how that played out. Now, there is a black content creator who was explaining all of that, but I didn't want to wait for, her name is I'm Not a Lawyer. I didn't want to wait for her every day, because she was covering other stuff, the YSL trial and all that. So I would look up lives while I was at work, and a lot of these people, and I wanted to support black creators. So I would look for black people who are covering this, and so many of them are Trump supporters. There are black Trump supporters everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. And I'm like, wait, we were all here 4 years ago. We were all here when the insurrection happened. We were all here when we saw that man incite violence, and these white people took it upon themselves to storm the Capitol. We were all here when that happened. Do you think
Do you think that he's going to let it go this time? Do you think he's going to be told that he can't be reelected after this presidency? Do you think he is not going to incite violence again? We were all here through that whole 4 years. How do we get to a point as black people that we're going to be in support of a violent man who is trying his best to be a fucking dictator? How have you lost your mind that hard? How have you done it? How have you lost your mind to the point that you're a black Donald Trump supporter? I know they're out there, but it's so many now. So many people are trying to justify themselves as being black Trump supporters. It is insane to me. We were all here. We all saw, we all witnessed him being a president. It's not a good look at all. There's nothing is worth it. A stimulus, nothing is worth it. Nothing is worth this violent man who can't take criticism. No, we can't do it again.
Insist. If you insist.